Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the part of the world you're watching this review from. Once again, it's your favorite host, Bearable King, and we're here for the 42nd week, which is about 10 weeks away from the end of the year, to review the British pounds, American dollar for the year 2024. How's your week been? I hope your week has been profitable. I hope it has been good. I hope you've been doing very well as I have been, right? Um, so before we go into the charts and the discussions for today, I noticed over the last 2 weeks that someone has been hampering and asking me, "Oh, what indicators do you use?" and things like that. I personally don't really depend on indicators that much because I have gone through that phase and I prefer doing things myself. Now, this is my preference. This is not to say that indicators are necessarily bad or not good enough. Is that clear? So, I personally, when I started trading, I had a lot of indicators. I have over 1,000 EAs and indicators that I used to use back in those days when EA was a thing for me, but I no longer use them, right? And the guy was asking, okay, so you had two indicators here. The first one used to carry the legendary mark for Bevel King, which I wrote up here. Then the second one was for sessions, Asian session, London session, and New York session. Now, the reason why I needed that or why I use that once in a while is because, you know, at the beginning of the market opening is when there's usually liquidity. So it gives me a visual representation so that I don't get lost in time. And that's why I used to use it. So today, if you notice, I'm actually dealing without any indicators so that it will be obvious and clear that I am not using indicators for my markups. My markups were all manually done by hand based on my understanding of the market. Okay. All right. So let's go into our word for today without wasting too much time. And I think it's important that we need to equip ourselves beyond just trading because you can be a successful trader, but you are a shitty person in life, and a shitty person becomes a bigger shitty person with more money, right? So, today I'm talking about something that is, I think I'll call it on time, and it's taken from the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 15. And he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed," right? Life does not consist in an abundance of possession. Now, why is this important? Because um, I've seen a lot of consistent, profitable trader drown themselves down a rabbit hole where they are looking for better systems, they are looking for better edges, they are looking for better ways to trade. Reason being that they think the more they're able to make, the more they are able to live. There is a place where contentment contempt has to play, right? When enough is enough, right? What is forex trading for most people? Forex trading is an avenue to generate funds easily so that you can invest in other things. So if you are able to build a system that over a set of trades gives you profitable outcomes over and over again, all you simply need to do is repeat that process. Then you can refine that process to a certain level. There's no way you're going to refine that process that the process will be giving you 100 hour every time, and there's no way you're going to refine that process that that process will be giving you 100% accuracy, right? So it gets to a point where you know that, okay, all I've learned in this business is enough. What I now need to do is develop myself to know more in other things. Then you have the opportunity to expand your scope, expand your horizon, explore, travel, live life, learn new things, right? You don't just always have to sit there and say, oh, they say I have to keep improving, I have to keep improving. Then the only place you want to improve is in forex trading, and your aim is to continue breaking milestone. You've made $10,000 monthly. You now want to get to a point where you're making $100,000 monthly, which is good. and then you get to a point where you're making $1 million monthly, which is good, but that's still not enough for you. Then you're pushing yourself that, oh, I must make $10 million monthly. At some point, your drive is going to kill you. So I hope this word helps someone. The idea there, I'm speaking because I've seen a bit of life, and I can tell you that to live life well and to live life properly, you really don't need a lot. You just need enough. So strive to make enough and make your life meaningful by exploring and doing more, right? Okay, so let's go to the chart quickly, and I'm going to be a bit quick with this, right? So I'm doing the weekly and the 4 hours, right? Because that's the proper higher time frame and lower time frame, right? If you're looking at a higher time frame review. So I'm going to do weekly, I'm going to do 4 hours. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to be direct and specific without wasting too much time. Okay, so I gave this chart at the beginning of the year, somewhere around here. Yeah, January, right? And the market has played out because market pushed up, tapped this zone, and then this market has been running to the upside, right? Now there's something you need to learn about every healthy um what do I call it, about every healthy markup. Every healthy markup would have a reasonable level of pullback, or every healthy impulsive move would have a reasonable level of pullback. So for example, if the market does this, pulls back like this, does this, pulls back like this, does this, right? This can be seen as just one move, right? This can be seen as just one move. Now, why is it seen as just one move? Because this pullback was not deep enough. It's not a healthy pullback. So what do we mean by a healthy pullback? What we mean by a healthy pullback is a pullback that shows a considerate level of what, let's say, sellers coming into the game like this, right? This is what we call a healthy bullish run, right? This is what we call a healthy bullish run. Okay, so if we look at this chart, let me take this off because I'm just doing a bit of training here, right? So if we look at this chart, you will notice that this price did this, came down, did this, came down. Then after this point, you will notice that this is not as deep as this or this. So this just came up, did this, right? Which means that if we are looking at a healthy pullback, we may see the market do something like this before running up into the side. And I actually mentioned this pullback roughly about 2 weeks ago, right? I mentioned this pullback about 2 weeks ago. So that being said, if you also look at the last 4 weeks, you will notice that you have a sort of evening star setup on a weekly time frame. Now, because I'm a student of price action, I don't play with candlesticks on the higher time frame, then support and resistance level or demand and supply zones or area of interest on the higher time frame. Because if you're going to see a pullback that can do 100 200 pips, you're probably going to see it on those type of time frames, right? So we've had a bullish run to the upside. We have a demand zone here or an order block here, meaning that if this market will pull back, this market can tap into the zone, right? However, if you're looking at the market, you notice that the market ran up. It didn't tap into this supply zone here, or this OB that I marked as at last year, which I was expecting it to tap into. Rather, the market did what? Gave us an evening star kind of setup. And last week confirmed the bearish presence, right? Because if last week closed as a bullish candle or a railroad pattern, then we can expect the market to continue going up, right? But instead of giving us that, what we had was a bearish candlestick confirmation to most likely push the price down. Hence, for this simple reason, I personally am expecting a bearish move on this market. Now, the bearish move I am expecting would be, the market is here, right? Came down here, the market, as far as I'm concerned, this is one push up. I'm anticipating that this market may pull back into the zone, right, before tapping the zone, right? So this is my expectation in the coming weeks, right? This may play out this week, it may play out in 2 weeks time, it may play out in 3 weeks time, it may play out in a month's time, right? So this is how I look at the market. Now, because I trade just one time frame, looking at charts like this helps me to foresee into the future, and hence what I foresee into the future guides what I do on the lower time frame. I feel like I'm already teaching. I feel like I'm already teaching. All right. So that, as this has been explained, I'm now going to go to the 4 hour time frame to explain it a little bit more. Right. So this is the 4 hour time frame. If you cannot remember last week's video, please go and check last week's video. I marked this point on the daily time frame, and I said that this market came tapped this point. Two things can happen. If this market should bounce from here, then the market may create a new high. But if the market does not bounce here, there's a probability that the market will tap this bottom before running to this high. If you can't remember last week's video, please try to watch last week's video. Or you know what, I'm going to insert last week's video maybe somewhere up here or here. Okay. All right, so we're looking at the chart now, right? You can see here too, there's no bear bull king, right? And you can see there's no indicator. So everything here was manually mapped out by hand, right? Okay, so let's look at what happened last week. I'm going to delete these two candles, these two lines or these two parts, right? So last week I did mention that I was expecting the market to become bullish here, and if it becomes bullish, then we'll run to the upper side. But here's what happened: the market never created a new high, right? Instead, the market kept on creating a new what low, right? The market kept on creating a new low. Now the price is currently here. So for this entire week, we had something like a range, right? This is like a downwards facing range. Are you with me? This is like a downwards facing range. And when the market was previously bearish, right? Let me explain a bit. So when you see the market ranging, the direction of the range matters, right? So for example, in this situation, the market was what? Bearish, right? And then the market started ranging. The market didn't even range upwards. You know that if you have the market range like this is called a bearish flag before the market drops. What I mean by this is the market does something like this, comes here, pulls up, comes down, pulls up, comes down. Then from here, you now have something like this, creating higher highs and higher lows within a range, right? So when you have something like this, once the market breaks below, it pulls back and then does what? Crashes down, right? So this is called a bearish flag, right? This is called a bearish flag, meaning that the market is still what? Bearish. Okay, let me take out this high one so that it will be clear, right? So this is a downward trend. You have a bearish flag and then the market pulls down. Now in this situation, the matter is actually worse because the bulls don't even have the effort to push this market up, right? The bulls don't even have the strength to push this market up, and the market just pushed down, broke below this demand zone, tapped below, and came back up here. And even the up, it hasn't broken this high or this high, right? Which for me, looking at it as a confluence to the higher time frame, I personally feel like the sellers do not have the strength, the buyers do not have the strength to push this market up. So we may see an instance where this market is just going to dead drop into the zone, and then we can look for a reversal pattern before we take a buy. Okay, so this is my preferred setup, right? This is my preferred setup for this week, and it's in line with what I explained previously last week. If you've not watched last week's video, please try to do yourself a favor and watch it. Now, if that doesn't happen, I would like to see a good change of character. And when I say a good change of character, what I simply mean is the market would create a higher high above the last two highs, right? So we have a high here and this is a low. We have a higher high here and this is a low. So we had, this was a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? And we are here lower high. So I would want to see this price break above this high and this high, maybe come above even this high itself, come above somewhere here. Then when I see this, I would say, okay, the strength of the bulls, right, has covered all the bearish pressure last week. And then from here, I can expect the market to pull back, and then I can take a bullish run to the upside, right? Now, the fact that we have this demand, this order block here, right, on the daily time frame, and it was rejected, simply makes me feel like this bullish move that I'm talking about could either tap somewhere around here, right? Or it could come and tap somewhere above here. Now, this I cannot tell until when the price does this move in the first place, right? So that simply means that we may see the market maybe from here drop down here and then do what I was expecting it to do, or see the price come from here down here, right? So it's either we have one of all these three setups. The other one I also mentioned was from here, see the market break below, pull up, come down, pull up, come down, right? Now, when the price gets into this point, then I would be looking for either a double bottom, which we are all used to, break and buy, or I would be looking for a flip, right? A flip. Now, if I see a flip, I would also be looking for a buy, right? So what I've done here, even if I'm unable to do videos next week, Sunday, I'm not sure yet, fingers crossed, but even if I'm unable to do videos next week, Sunday, this should be enough guide for you, right? And I've said it before, until you see a change of direction, either here or here, the initial direction remains instant. So for me, the market is still bearish because the market has not created a higher high yet. All right. So I'm going to stop here. I believe that this should last for this week and next week, because next week I'm not sure if I'm going to be available. I think I have a meeting on Sunday, next week Sunday. I'm not sure yet. I think I have a meeting next week Sunday. So depending on the outcome of my meeting, I may not be available to do this review, but I have taken my time to explain what I am expecting for this week and next week. All right. If you have any questions, if you have any inquiries, please drop your inquiries in the comment section below. Also try to join the Telegram channel in the link attached. Okay, and if you want to get a prop firm, you can get from Startup Prop, that is in the description below. All right, so till next week, remain safe, remain blessed, and I remain your host, Bebo King. Bye bye.